Dr. Heavenly and Dr. Damon have always been seen as one of the most solid couples in reality TV. Their love story, built on years of trust, companionship, and mutual respect, was something fans admired. But you won't believe what just went down in their world. For years, whispers of trouble in paradise were brushed under the rug, dismissed as baseless gossip. People speculated, fans raised questions, but Dr. Heavenly, always the fierce and confident woman, stood her ground, fiercely protecting her marriage from public scrutiny. However, destiny took an unexpected turn, and the truth she had avoided for so long finally came crashing down on her. Let me tell you, this is how one of reality TV's most admired couples got caught in the middle of a scandal that no one saw coming except for those who had been watching closely all along. The streets had been talking, and for once the whispers weren't just empty speculation. Dr. Heavenly, known for her quick wit and sharp tongue, found herself in a position she never thought she'd be in, questioning the very man she had always defended. The world thought they were untouchable, a duo stronger than any controversy. But here is the shocking part: the cracks in their seemingly perfect foundation were deeper than anyone could have imagined. The betrayal wasn't just a rumor anymore, it was real. And now Dr. Heavenly had no choice but to confront the truth head-on. For a woman who prided herself on always being in control, this was a moment of reckoning. But this is where it gets interesting. How did it all unfold? What pushed Dr. Heavenly to finally break her silence? And most importantly, how did Dr. Damon respond? The answers will leave you speechless, and trust me, this is only the beginning of the storm that's about to shake their world. Dr. Heavenly and Dr. Damon have been the epitome of black love and success. A power couple balancing medicine, business, and reality TV while keeping their family intact. Their relationship, often showcased on Married to Medicine, painted a picture of stability and unwavering devotion. Fans saw them as the rare example of a couple that could withstand the pressures of fame, fortune, and the ever-watchful public eye. Dr. Heavenly, with her outspoken and fiery personality, often made it clear that she had her marriage under control, and Dr. Damon, he played the role of the composed and reserved husband, a man of few words but strong principles. Together, they seemed unbreakable. But here is the shocking part: while the cameras captured their seemingly perfect love story, something sinister was brewing behind the scenes. For years there had been murmurs, faint at first, but growing louder with time. Fans started questioning Dr. Heavenly's intense protectiveness over her husband, noticing how she would shut down any conversations about his fidelity. At first, it seemed like she was simply a wife who wouldn't tolerate nonsense. But then the whispers turned into full-blown rumors. Allegations started surfacing, suggesting that Dr. Damon wasn't as innocent as he appeared. Despite all the talk, Dr. Heavenly never wavered. She stood by her husband, shutting down critics and dismissing accusations with her signature sharp tongue. In interviews, she scoffed at the idea of infidelity, making it clear that her marriage was built on trust and loyalty. But behind closed doors, was there more to the story? Were the whispers actually the truth? And if so, how much did Dr. Heavenly really know? This is where it gets interesting, because when you're in the public eye, keeping secrets isn't easy, and no matter how tightly you control the narrative, the truth always has a way of slipping through the cracks. Fans began dissecting their interactions, analyzing every episode, every comment, every social media post. Something didn't add up, and as the rumors gained momentum, the one solid image of Dr. Heavenly and Dr. Damon's marriage started to look more like a carefully crafted illusion. Now the question isn't just whether the rumors were true, but how long Dr. Heavenly was willing to pretend they weren't, because once the facade begins to crumble, there's no stopping the collapse. And trust me, destiny took an unexpected turn, and what happened next would send shockwaves through their world like never before. For years, speculation about Dr. Damon's alleged affairs floated through social media, whispered in online forums and comment sections. It started as harmless chatter, something that happens to almost every high-profile couple in reality TV. But this is where it gets interesting. The rumors didn't just fade away, instead they grew louder, more detailed, and harder to ignore. At first, Dr. Heavenly did what she always did: laughed it off, shut it down, and defended her husband with an ironclad resolve. Anytime the topic came up, whether in interviews or on Married to Medicine, she would quickly redirect the conversation, insisting that her man was faithful and that outsiders needed to mind her business. If anyone dared to suggest otherwise, she would snap back with her signature sass, making it clear that no one could shake the foundation of her marriage. Fans watched as she brushed off accusations with a confidence that made people question whether the rumors had any merit at all. But then here is the shocking part: new evidence surfaced, and it was undeniable. This wasn't just another baseless accusation. This time it was real: screenshots, alleged messages, and even claims from women who said they had been involved with Dr. Damon started making rounds. Suddenly the whispers weren't just from anonymous sources or gossip logs. There were receipts, and for the first time Dr. Heavenly couldn't just laugh it off. Fans started noticing a shift in her demeanor. The woman who once shut down rumors with ease now seemed more on edge, dodging questions with less confidence. Her fiery defenses weren't as sharp and her responses became more calculated. She was trying to keep it together, but the cracks were beginning to show. It was no longer about proving people wrong, it was about protecting the last bit of control she had over the situation. And then destiny took an unexpected turn, because when the truth is too big to ignore, it forces its way to the surface. Dr. Heavenly was no longer just dealing with speculation. She was faced with a reality that she had fought so hard to deny. The pressure was mounting, and the moment of reckoning was inevitable. The woman who always had an answer for everything was suddenly left with a question she never thought she'd have to face. Had her husband really betrayed her? This wasn't just another storyline for reality TV, this was her marriage, her reputation, and everything she had built. And the worst part, the whole world was watching as it all unfolded. What makes this story different? Dr. Heavenly has always been the loudest voice in the room, the woman who never backs down from a fight, and the queen of calling people out. But when it came to her husband, Dr. Damon, she played by a different set of rules. She fiercely protected him, avoided messy public drama, and kept their marriage in a bubble, one that no one could pop. But here's the craziest part: when the weight of the rumors became too much to ignore, when the evidence was staring her in the face, when even her closest friends began whispering behind her back, she had no choice but to do what she had avoided for years. It was time to confront Dr. Damon. Cameras were rolling, and the tension was thick. Fans who had watched Married to Medicine for years knew that Dr. Heavenly was no stranger to heated arguments, but this time it was different. This wasn't about another castmate, some petty drama, or a social media spat. This was her husband, the man she had built a life with, the man she had defended at every turn. And now she was standing in front of him, demanding the truth. You won't believe how it all went down. At first Dr. D tried to keep his usual calm, collected demeanor. He had always been the quiet one, the man who stayed out of drama, the rock in their relationship. But there was something in Dr. Heavenly's eyes this time, something that told him this wasn't a conversation he could smooth over with a few reassuring words. She wanted answers, and she wanted them now. Her voice, usually filled with confidence, now wavered between anger and heartbreak. She laid it all on the table: the accusations, the rumors, the screenshots, the women claiming to have been involved with him. Every time he tried to deflect, she cut him off. There was no escape, no avoiding the inevitable. And then this is where it gets interesting, because in that moment, with the world watching and the truth on the line, Dr. Damon's reaction said everything. Was he going to deny it? Would he admit to something, or would he do what so many men in his position have done before, turn it back on her? As the confrontation escalated, the tension became unbearable. The woman who had always had a response for everything was now demanding answers of her own. And Dr. Damon, he was faced with a choice: either tell the truth or risk losing the very woman who had stood by him through it all. Destiny took an unexpected turn, and in that moment their marriage was hanging by a thread. The question was, would it survive, or was this the breaking point that would finally tear them apart? For years he had been known as the calm, level-headed, drama-free husband, always staying out of the messy fights and never raising his voice. Fans expected him to do what he always did: deny, de-escalate, or simply walk away. But destiny took an unexpected turn when Dr. Heavenly finally confronted him with the hard-hitting truth, and his response left everyone in shock. At first, there was silence, a long heavy pause that felt like an eternity. Dr. Hel had just laid out every accusation, every rumor, and every piece of evidence. The air was thick with tension, and all eyes were on Dr. Damon. Would he deny? Would he confess? Would he turn the tables and blame her? Then finally he spoke. But instead of the usual smooth denial or defensive outrage, his voice was low, steady, but filled with some tea.